Hey guys, John Fitzen here. Hey, Dave wants to give us a little lesson on guns, and you guys can use this when you're talking to the liberals, and uses it as a reference and kind of teach you how far back firearms really have been. It's been in our lives for how long? The 12th century?
Well, it starts in 12th century BC.
Yeah, but anyway, Dave's going to tell us a little bit. Go ahead, Dave. Tell us what.
Okay, well, why we're here is very simple. It's about 3 weeks after the Orlando massacre. 49 people dead. And fortunately, one degenerate Quisling.
Yeah, we know who that is.
Yeah. And so, the mortician has barely started to do his job. The bodies have barely cooled, and my old pal Piers Morgan, the fifth columnist.
God, I wish that guy'd go away.
Hey, he went back to England. Sorry, England. At least you got Brexit going for you. So, he's out with his usual stuff. I'm not going to dig it up because I only care so much. And then this character. Now, I want you to understand, to our atheist friends out there, I have no problem with atheists in general. Just a couple of them.
Yeah.
Now, this degenerate atheist
This
starts...
guy's a douchebag bad.
Yeah, he starts spewing, well, he has some redeeming values. Just on the gun thing, he's a gun-grabbing Luddite.
Yeah.
So he's going nuts on Trump. Trump is going to set up a police state to keep these... to control all the Muslims and ban all the Muslims. It's rather insane. The best takedown on this is done by the Edgy Sphinx. We'll link to him in the description.
Yeah.
You'll get to see both of these too.
And actually, that's good. God, I watched some of God. That's cool.
Yeah, Edgy's great.
Yeah. I like him. Yeah.
So anyhow, Trump is going to set up a police state, and the next step he's arguing, well, we need to ban all guns. We need less guns. We need to regulate guns. Doesn't seem to understand what kind of a police state that would be, and I'm getting ready to go off in his comments, and it strikes me maybe he just doesn't know. So we're going to go through the history of firearms. Now, remember, folks, it's firearms. They actually start out as incendiaries before they become the guns we so know and love.
Yeah, exactly.
So 1200 BC is the first time we see incendiary weapons in the record.
Okay.
Including depictions of napalm-like weapons, several thrown incendiaries, some of which, in the historical descriptions, sound a little bit like some of the incendiary variants of black powder. You see them in fireworks. They're not really a good propellant. They just burn. We get up to the 7th century, and now we've got Greek fire, which is
that on the ships and different stuff like that. Yeah.
The stuff that can actually get more energetic when it hits water. And they still don't know exactly what they used. They have some chemical formulations that kind of work like that. By the 8th century, we have the first incendiary grenades, a little more than Molotov cocktails built out of ceramic.
But still effective for its time, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Works today.
Yeah.
Now, in the 9th century, we get the first true gunpowder as we know it, which comes from China. And China. China's just great. They're kicking out all the great inventions. And they invent the fire lance, made out of that high-tech, space-age, super strong material. Wood. Bamboo, to be precise. They just took the hollow core. Think of it as a Roman candle shooting bits of metal. That hot flaming metal smacking on you, starting you on fire, your equipment on fire. And in the 10th century, we get our first references to explosive grenades.
Okay.
Now, we've gotten to the 13th century now.
Okay.
And the first rockets are produced. And, the Chinese, they're inventive and creative people, so they're firing arrows,
rockets,
explosive incendiary devices. And landmines make their first appearance.
Really?
The modern landmine people will tell you dates back to the American Civil War, but as usual, the Chinese beat us to it.
Cool.
Half the time I expect they're going to dig up some ancient Mandarin's tomb and find airplanes next.
That could happen.
Well, by the 14th century, we have the first breech loaders.
Okay.
At least the first that have been documented. There's actually some new archaeological digs, but I can't find enough information to say anything. In the 15th century, we have the matchlock. This is over in Europe, finally. It's also about the time we find the first purpose-built armor-piercing round.
Really?
They basically took a Bodkin-style arrow, put brass fletchings on it, and fired out of a handgun.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm told there's one on display at the Royal Armories in Leeds.
Wow. Wow. That's cool.
Also, the volley gun makes its first appearance.
Cool.
Well, we get to the 16th century and we finally have the wheel lock,
Okay.
which are fun to see, but a major technical investment for the time. And the first revolvers appear about this time. 17th century, we have the flintlocks, and one of my personal favorites, the hand mortar. It's a grenade launcher.
Really?
Yeah, there's one shown in Last of the Mohicans.
Really?
Yeah,
What part's that?
where they're in that fight outside the fort. One of the soldiers is carrying one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to spot. It's not a major thing. The only reason I noticed it is because I knew what it was.
Wow. God, shit, that's cool.
Yeah, so grenade launchers already exist now. All the artillery that you can think of, cannon, mortars, already exist. But in 1718, the first machine gun. Now, this is a mechanical machine gun. Think of it a bit like a predecessor to the Gatling gun. But this is the first firearm. This is where the term machine gun comes from.
Okay.
So the puckle is kind of a revolver-ish thing. Now, at about this time, we get the first mention of a fire piston, which is used to start kindling.
Okay.
Now, I'm only referencing this because it plays an important role in future technological developments. It uses the adiabatic process, which is the same process that diesel engines use, compress the air and to generate heat.
Wow. Wow. Didn't even know. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, it's April 19th, 1775,
Cool.
and the Battle of Lexington and Concord takes place.
Very important battle.
All these weapons precede that event.
Yep.
The Declaration of Independence is signed July 4th of 1776.
Yeah.
And one of the first things to make an appearance on the battlefield is the Ferguson breech-loading rifle.
Ferguson.
It's basically, have you ever seen a Sharps rifle?
Yeah.
Instead of a breech that slides up, it
Oh,
spins
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah. I've seen that, yeah.
Now, you'd say they've gotten quite advanced by then, but they weren't slouches back then in Europe either. Because the Girandoni makes its first appearance in 1779. This is an air rifle, right?
Yep.
Serious weapons back in the day. In fact, it's still a serious weapon today.
Yeah.
It has a 20-round magazine. So that high-capacity magazine argument is invalid in 1779.
Wow.
And, well, it's 1780, and the Holy Roman Empire adopts them. It's not their standard, every soldier gets one weapon, but there's enough of them.
Yeah.
In fact, they play havoc on Napoleon
Really?
decades later.
And Napoleon had air rifles too, didn't he?
I think he probably picked them up. Napoleon wasn't a slouch either.
Yeah.
September 3rd, 1783, the American Revolutionary War ends. Then it's June 21st, 1788, and the U.S. Constitution is ratified.
Cool.
Now, as part of the deal, remember, at the end of the day, the Constitution is a treaty between the several states. As part of the deal for the Constitution, a Bill of Rights had to be included.
Okay.
There was some debate of what it should include, but on December 15th, 1791, the U.S. Bill of Rights is ratified.
Okay.
That means rockets, machine guns, mortars, multi-shot firearms with large magazines, grenade launchers, mortars, the early predecessors of today's howitzers even. Just, cannon.
It's all been done.
All predate the Second Amendment. So the entire argument that you can pull this stuff off and that it has any validity in law or logic is gone. But more importantly, all the basic tools of arms technology have already been hammered out by then.
So, in a nutshell, on the Second Amendment,
Yeah.
all this stuff has been done.
All the gun control arguments on they couldn't have envisioned this being the new weapon. Large magazines already existed.
Yeah, so
Grenade launchers existed.
you liberals, you're screwed. All this stuff has been done, and they realize our forefathers knew that all this was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about this, though. This is the early Industrial Revolution, and this technology already exists.
Wow.
In fact, the only thing that changed since then is that we got better at making things. You could make a machine gun that operates on some of these processes today. In fact, maybe we should do that.
And it just, and the people were, God, we had so much going on at the time. The Industrial Revolution, God, everybody's working, doing stuff. They didn't have time to go out and do mass killings and different stuff like that. And all these guys, then we get these religious fanatic dumbasses going doing all this shit, and it's just, God, and we, our forefathers knew all this shit that we had out there.
So far, John, we've been lucky. These clowns just go with what they've seen on TV.
Yeah.
Eventually, one of them's going to show up who paid attention in high school chemistry class. And then you're going to see a true massacre. But your choice is very simple. You can have gun control or freedom.
Exactly.
Your society is based on technology. If you try to control the technology, you're going to need a police state of unparalleled horror to even try it. So, good luck, you crazy liberal.
You know what? We carry, Dave carries, almost, God, everybody we know carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just, my daughter, she goes to the gay pride thing downtown here and different stuff like that. You know what? I said, okay, do your thing. You go with your school because their school's promoting. I go have a cup of coffee, but I'm carrying, and hey, shit happens. Yeah, I'm prepared. Are you prepared, you dumbass liberals? No, you're a fucking victim. Yeah.
You know the definition of an assault rifle, right?
Yeah.
It's a medium power firearm. Well, to be exact, it's an intermediate cartridge, which is the bottom of the medium power spectrum. In other words, there's no such thing as a high-powered assault rifle. There's one actual assault rifle up here. Can you spot it? I've even left the position in the full auto selection, which is the second part of the definition. Intermediate power cartridge, and it must have both the capacity to fire semi-automatic and some variant of full automatic, whether it's burst or traditional full auto. Without those two things, it's not an assault rifle. Well, there's one here. We've conveniently numbered them. Have fun playing in the comments. Guess the assault rifle.
All you have to do is look at the selector switch. And you liberals, get a clue. Learn this stuff before you fucking open your mouths and everything. It just shit. And I know which one the full auto one is. It's that one.
Darn, he ruined it. So much for the comments.
But anyway, God, Dave, you're the man. Teaching us that stuff. So use this to your advantage, you guys.
Take this video, pass it around. Feel free to copy it, edit it to your own needs.
Yeah, and just
And remember, the most important comments to disprove my position are that I'm fat and bald.
yeah, I'll get a bunch of stuff. People will say, these dumbass liberals, but they're the downfall of the United States. Vote for Trump. He's the man. We get Hillary. We are really just fucked. Sorry. So, anyway. Anything else, Dave?
Remember, if you're caching weapons, cache them on government land.
Keep your edges sharp, your powder dry. See you guys. Thanks, Dave.